Listen, I'm about to share something that might actually upset some experienced farmers. Last season, a friend of mine made more money from a 10 by 20 foot bed than his neighbor did from half an acre of corn. Sounds impossible? Stick around, because what I'm revealing today could completely flip your understanding of what profitable farming actually means. Hey there, it's so good to see you back here at Serene Green Gardens. And if you're new to our little corner of the internet, welcome. You've just landed in a space where we believe growing food shouldn't drain your wallet or steal your sanity. Today's conversation is probably the most requested topic we've ever had. And honestly, I've been sitting on this information way too long. Before we dig in, do me a quick favor. If you're serious about making your garden or small farm actually pay you back, hit that subscribe button right now. I promise you'll want these strategies showing up in your feed regularly. And hey, turn on notifications too, because next week I'm dropping something about seed starting that's going to save you hundreds of dollars. What I'm sharing today comes from real farm data, conversations with market gardeners who've cracked the code, and honestly, a few expensive mistakes of my own. We're talking about crops that turn your space into a profit machine without requiring you to work yourself into the ground. Some of these might surprise you. A couple might even seem too simple, but that's exactly the point. Profitable farming isn't about complexity. It's about understanding dollars per square foot, turnaround time, and what customers actually open their wallets for. So, let's get into these 15 crops that could genuinely transform your farming game. Crop number 1, microgreens. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't that just fancy restaurant stuff? Not anymore. These little nutritional powerhouses are the closest thing farming has to printing money. Here's why this matters. You plant seeds, and in 7 to 14 days, you're harvesting. Not weeks, not months, days. A single 10 by 20 tray can generate $50 to $100, and you can stack these operations vertically. I've seen growers running microgreen setups in spare bedrooms, basements, even converted closets. The startup cost is minimal: seeds, trays, growing medium, and basic lighting. What makes them especially brilliant for beginners is the quick feedback loop. If something goes wrong, you know within 2 weeks, not 3 months. You can grow everything from spicy radish to delicate pea shoots, and market farmers' customers can't get enough of them. The key is consistency and building relationships with local restaurants who need weekly deliveries. Crop number 2, arugula. Arugula is your secret weapon for those cooler months when other greens struggle. This peppery green has a cult following among chefs and home cooks who know what they're doing. What I love about arugula is that it's a cut-and-come-again crop. You're not pulling the entire plant, you're harvesting leaves, and that same plant keeps producing for weeks. Plant it in succession every 2 weeks, and you'll have a continuous harvest that keeps your market stand stocked. It germinates fast, handles light frost like a champion, and grows in spring and fall when your summer crops are taking a break. Price it per bag or bunch and you'll notice something interesting. People don't hesitate at the register. That peppery flavor isn't something they can get from generic grocery store spring mix, so they're willing to pay what it's worth. Crop number 4, radishes. Radishes are the crop that proves speed equals profit. 21 to 30 days from seed to sale. Think about that. In the time it takes most crops to get established, radishes are already making you money. And we're not just talking about boring red globes here. French breakfast radishes with that oblong shape and mild flavor, watermelon radishes with that stunning pink interior, even spicy black radishes for adventurous eaters. Every color and variety tells a story at your market stand, and stories sell. The brilliance of radishes goes beyond speed, though. They're a perfect gap filler. Waiting for your tomatoes to size up? Tuck radishes between them. Got a bed that just finished producing lettuce? Radishes. They work as both a main crop and an intercrop, maximizing every inch of growing space. Kids love them too, which means parents buy them hoping to inspire some vegetable enthusiasm. Now, before I reveal the next crop, here's something that might blow your mind. 3 of the remaining crops on this list can be harvested in winter. actual winter. While most farmers are planning and waiting, these crops are generating income. One of them even tastes better after a frost. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's keep going. Crop number 4, spinach. Spinach is that reliable friend who shows up when you need them most. Plant it early spring or late summer, and you've got a crop that handles cold weather better than most humans. But here's the insider knowledge that changes everything. When spinach experiences frost, something magical happens. The plant converts starches to sugars as a natural antifreeze, making those leaves noticeably sweeter. Your customers will taste the difference, and suddenly you're not just selling spinach anymore, you're selling frost-kissed winter spinach, and that premium positioning matters. Spinach also stores well after harvest if you keep it cool, giving you flexibility in how you sell it. Farmers markets, restaurant deliveries, CSA boxes, it fits everywhere. The varieties matter too. Savoy pipes with crinkled leaves for that classic look, smooth-leafed varieties for easier cleaning, and baby spinach for premium salad mixes.
Crop number 5, beets. Beets give you 2 crops in one, and that's where the profit angle gets interesting. Those gorgeous greens, customers pay for those separately. The roots, different price point, different market window. You can harvest beets young as baby beets for high-end restaurants, or let them size up for storage and winter sales. The color range available now is incredible. Deep red, golden yellow, striped Chioggia beets that look like stained glass when you slice them. At farmers markets, presentation is half the sale, and beets photograph beautifully. The earthy sweetness appeals to health-conscious buyers, and the fact that you can roast, pickle, juice, or eat them raw means they attract diverse customers. Growing tip that saves headaches? Space them properly from the start. Crowded beets means small, oddly shaped roots that are harder to sell. Crop number 6, greenhouse string beans. If you've got protected growing space, greenhouse string beans deserve serious consideration. These aren't your typical garden beans. We're talking about varieties bred specifically for greenhouse production, climbing types that use vertical space efficiently. The profit comes from timing. While outdoor beans are done for the season, your greenhouse beans are still producing into fall and even early winter, depending on your climate and heating setup. Restaurants love reliable bean suppliers because beans are menu staples that can't easily be substituted. You become the grower they depend on, which means repeat orders and stable income. Yes, greenhouse growing has upfront costs, but think of it as controlling your growing environment instead of gambling on weather. You decide when to plant, how to manage pests, and when to harvest for peak quality. Greenhouse cucumbers are in a different league than their outdoor cousins. We're talking about European-style cucumbers, those long, seedless varieties that grocery stores wrap in plastic and charge premium prices for. Yours will be fresher, tastier, and more local than anything shipped from across the country. The yield potential in a well-managed greenhouse is frankly absurd. These plants, when trained properly on vertical strings, become producing machines. One plant can give you dozens of cucumbers over an extended harvest window. Customer demand stays consistent because cucumbers work year-round. Summer salads, winter pickles, fresh eating, juicing. The versatility keeps them moving at markets. The catch is that greenhouse cucumbers require attention, regular harvesting, proper training, consistent watering, and temperature management. But for growers willing to learn the system, the returns justify the effort. Hey, quick pause here. If you're finding value in this breakdown, do me a favor and drop a comment below telling me which crop you're most excited to try. I read every single comment, and it helps me understand what content serves you best. Also, if you haven't liked this video yet, go ahead and smash that thumbs up. It tells YouTube that this information matters, which means more gardeners and farmers get to see it. All right, back to these profit-generating crops. Crop number 8, garlic. Garlic is the set-it-and-forget-it crop that pays you back with interest. You plant cloves in fall, mulch them well, and then basically ignore them until summer harvest. The input costs are minimal once you've got seed stock established. No transplanting, very little weeding if you mulch properly, and few pest problems. But here's where garlic gets interesting from a profit standpoint. Customers will pay ridiculous prices for fresh local garlic compared to the imported stuff at grocery stores. And they should. The flavor difference is night and day. Hardneck varieties produce scapes in early summer, which are essentially a bonus crop. Those curly green stems sell for premium prices at markets and to restaurants. Then you harvest the bulbs in mid to late summer, cure them properly, and you've got a crop that stores for months. You can sell fresh garlic from July through December, maybe longer, from a single fall planting. Crop number 9, Hakuri turnips. Hakuri turnips are one of those crops that separate informed growers from people just guessing. These aren't the bitter, woody turnips your grandparents might have boiled into submission. Hakuri turnips, also called salad turnips, are sweet, crisp, and can be eaten raw. They're chef favorite, which immediately makes them valuable. The entire plant is edible. Small, tender turnips are perfect for fresh eating or quick cooking, and the greens are delicious sautéed or in salad mixes. Timing is everything with Hakuri turnips. Harvest them at golf ball size, maybe slightly larger, and you've got a premium product. Let them get too big, and they lose that special texture and sweetness. They grow fast, usually around 45 days, and thrive in cooler weather. Spring and fall plantings work beautifully.
Crop number 10, Swiss chard. Swiss chard is the workhorse green that keeps producing when others have given up. Plant it once and you're harvesting for months. The rainbow varieties with stems in yellow, orange, pink, red, and white are absolutely stunning at market. People buy with their eyes first, and chard delivers visual impact. What makes chard especially valuable is its flexibility. Young leaves work in salad mixes. Mature leaves are perfect for cooking. The stems can be prepared separately, almost like asparagus. You're giving customers options, which increases perceived value. Chard also tolerates heat better than lettuce or spinach, giving you greens during that tricky midsummer period when other crops bolt. It's nearly foolproof for beginners, handles some shade, and requires minimal care beyond consistent watering. All right, we're about to hit the final 5 crops, and I saved some of the most interesting ones for this section. 2 of them aren't even vegetables, and 1 requires almost no traditional growing at all. Stay with me because this is where things get really creative. Crop number 11, basil. Basil is summer in plant form, and customers can't get enough of it. This isn't complicated. Basil grows fast, smells incredible, and has constant demand from both home cooks and restaurants. The key to profitability with basil is succession planting and proper harvesting technique. Never let it flower. Once basil flowers, leaf production slows and flavor changes. Keep pinching those tops, which encourages bushier plants and more leaves to harvest. There are so many varieties beyond standard Genovese. Thai basil for Asian cooking, lemon basil for fish dishes, purple basil for visual interest. Each variety opens up different customer segments. Selling basil by the bunch is fine, but consider offering potted basil plants too. Some customers prefer to keep the plant alive on their windowsill, which means you can charge more for essentially the same product in a different format. Crop number 12, lettuce mixes. Lettuce mixes, specifically loose leaf varieties, are a market garden staple for good reason. They grow quickly, usually 30 to 45 days, and you can harvest them as cut-and-come-again crops or whole heads depending on your market preference. The mix approach is brilliant marketing. Instead of selling individual lettuce types, you're offering spring mix or spicy greens or chef's blend. Suddenly, you're not competing with grocery store lettuce, you're offering something unique. Succession planting is critical with lettuce, so small amounts every week or two and you'll have continuous harvests instead of a glut followed by nothing. Pay attention to varieties suited for your season. Heat-tolerant types for summer, cold-hardy varieties for spring and fall. Lettuce doesn't like extreme heat, so having shade cloth ready for those hot months protects your investment. Crop number 14, mini sweet peppers. Mini sweet peppers are having a moment, and smart growers are capitalizing on it.
These aren't bell peppers that you picked early. These are specific varieties bred to be small, sweet, and colorful. Red, orange, yellow, even chocolate brown. They're perfect snacking size, which appeals to parents looking for easy lunchbox additions and adults wanting healthy snacks. The advantage over full-size peppers is harvest volume. One plant produces dozens of mini peppers instead of a handful of large ones, and customers often buy by the basket or pound, which adds up quickly. These peppers do take time to establish and they need warmth to thrive, so factor in a longer growing season. But once they start producing, they keep going until frost. Consider offering mixed color baskets for maximum visual appeal. That rainbow effect sells itself. Crop number 15, shiitake mushrooms. Now we're getting into specialty territory. Shiitake mushrooms aren't your typical crop. You're not planting seeds in soil. You're inoculating logs or sawdust blocks with mushroom spawn and creating the right conditions for fruiting. This sounds exotic, but it's surprisingly doable on a small scale. The profit margins on shiitake mushrooms are significant because most people have never considered growing them. You're operating in a space with less competition. Fresh, locally grown shiitakes command premium prices at farmers markets and restaurants. Dried shiitakes have even longer shelf life and often higher prices per pound. The beauty of mushroom cultivation is that it uses space differently. Logs can be stacked in shaded areas where traditional crops wouldn't thrive. You're utilizing unused resources and creating income from spaces that would otherwise sit empty. Crop number 15, goji berries. Last but definitely not least, goji berries. These are the definition of a trendy superfood crop, and trends create profit opportunities. Goji berries are packed with antioxidants and have a dedicated following among health-conscious consumers willing to pay premium prices. The plants are perennial shrubs, meaning you plant them once and harvest for years. After the establishment period, they're relatively low maintenance, drought-tolerant, and productive. Fresh goji berries are delicate and don't ship well, which is exactly why local production has such an advantage. You can offer something grocery stores can't compete with. Dried goji berries also sell well and are easier to store and transport. The marketing positioning writes itself. Local, fresh, organic goji berries from a farm they can visit. That's powerful.
So here's the reality check that brings all of this together. You don't need to grow all 15 of these crops. In fact, you probably shouldn't, especially when starting out. The smart approach is picking 3 to 5 crops that match your climate, available space, and target market. Ask yourself who you're selling to. Farmers market customers want variety and beauty. Restaurants want consistency and quality. CSA members want seasonal diversity. Your crop selection should reflect those answers. Think about your growing season and how these crops fit together. Fast crops like radishes and arugula give you early income, while slower crops like peppers and goji berries mature. Greenhouse crops extend your season when outdoor production stops. The most successful small farms I know aren't doing one thing. They're orchestrating multiple crops that complement each other, creating income streams throughout the entire year instead of one big summer push. Let's talk about actually implementing this. Start by mapping your space. How many beds do you have? How much greenhouse space, if any? What areas get full sun versus partial shade? Once you know your canvas, sketch out a simple rotation. Beds that finish producing lettuce in late spring can immediately grow beans or basil. Fall beds can transition from tomatoes to spinach or arugula. The goal is keeping productive space working for you as many months as possible. Track everything. I can't stress this enough. Simple spreadsheets showing what you planted, when you harvested, and what you sold it for. That data becomes your roadmap. You'll quickly see which crops are pulling their weight financially and which ones are taking up space without earning their keep. Farming is romantic until you check the bank account, then it becomes math. Now, let's be honest about challenges, because I'm not here to sell you fairy tales. Every single one of these crops can fail under the right conditions, or wrong conditions rather. Pests, disease, weather, market saturation, personal burnout, these are real issues. The difference between profitable growers and struggling ones isn't avoiding problems. It's how quickly they adapt when things go sideways. If your microgreens develop mold issues, you troubleshoot your ventilation and humidity. If customers aren't buying your beets, you either improve how you're presenting them, find a different market, or pivot to a crop that does sell. Flexibility and willingness to learn from mistakes matter more than getting everything perfect on the first try. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Profitable farming on a small scale is absolutely possible, but it requires intentionality. You're not just growing food, you're running a business where plants happen to be the product. These 15 crops represent opportunities, not guarantees. Your success comes from understanding your specific situation and making informed decisions based on data, not hope. Start small. Test crops. Talk to your customers about what they actually want. Build relationships with chefs and market managers. Improve your soil every season. Learn to grow fewer things exceptionally well rather than many things poorly. That's the path to making your farm or garden genuinely profitable. If this video helped clarify which crops might work for your situation, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Tell me what you're planning to try this season and why. And seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We're building something special here at Serene Green Gardens, a community of growers who believe farming should be sustainable both environmentally and financially. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stick around. Next week, we're diving into season extension techniques that'll add months to your growing year without breaking the bank. Until then, get out there, get your hands dirty, and remember that every successful farm started with someone willing to try something new. I'll see you in the next one.